Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, as we welcome you into tonight's broadcast of the White Knuckle Racing League, where we have playoff action with the second to last remaining race in the Monster Energy Cup Series here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. A lot is on the line as 6 drivers enter, but only 4 will remain when the checker flag flies here at the Ford EcoBoost 200. I'm Tim Wells, aka Turtle Wells 73, and I'll be your voice of tonight's action here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. It's a beautiful sunny day here right outside of virtual Fort Lauderdale, Miami Metro, Florida, with a 0% chance of showers in the area. Should be action-packed from start to finish as we now take a look at some of tonight's keys to victory for tonight's race. Some of tonight's keys to victory: tire wear lasting the fuel run. As we all know, the tire wear here lasts roughly anywhere from 13 to 16 laps, so if you're able to make that last the fuel run, could come into play for strategy long-term as we get into the later stages. Next, fuel conservation in the last stage. As we saw the previous 2 races in the Trucks and Xfinity Series, Tire wear definitely made a difference there at the end, as well as conserving that fuel. And last but not least, we'll be making minimal mistakes on pit entry, a new rule implemented this week. We'll be using the access roads here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. So being able to get on those access roads and coming off as smoothly as possible will pay dividends in the end for our drivers. Taking a look at today's lineup as qualifying has just finished up. Looks like starting on the pole, we have M10 Miller in the 31 car in that Chevrolet. Second, we'll have Dale Miller, so the Miller brothers 1 and 2 for RCI. Starting in the third spot will be the Hardy God in the 42. Starting in the fourth will be Timmy Racer in that number 20. Fifth position, Fire Slayer in the number 1 there for Chip Ganassi Racing. And those rounds up our top 6 at the moment, so a lot going on here in today's race, a lot on the line. Playoffs are obviously on the way. 6 drivers enter, 4 will remain for whoever takes that checker flag here at the end of the race. Looking at last week's race, it was won by young boy Terrell, who got another win, but unfortunately was suspended due to not following the rules on pit exit. So unfortunately he did not make it to this second to last round, but he will still be driving in that 48 Chevrolet Camaro nonetheless. So as far as the playoff drivers that are remaining, Dale Miller 10, the Fire Slayer, McLovin Racing, Jose Protege, the Ridge Rat, and the Here You Got will all be eligible to enter in that championship round next week at Las Vegas. So as far as Homestead-Miami is concerned, 134 laps. Stages will consist in 3 stages. First stage 39, second stage 40, that third stage 55 to round out that. And we'll see who comes away with the victory. There's my invites. There's my invite for the race. And here any moment now we'll be joining that race to get the Ford EcoBoost 200 on the way there at Homestead-Miami. And tires roughly, we talked about strategy. Tires, lasting roughly about 13 to 16 laps. Fuel, you can go a little longer, 15 to 17 laps, depending on how hard you run that car there on your run. So obviously, we're looking forward to today's race. Homestead-Miami, it was actually founded there in 1995. Looks like an update here. Looks like Me will be starting there in the back of the field today. Looks like he had just missed qualifying. Actually, due to a penalty from Kansas in Week 5. So Me will be starting there in the back. As we're about to start to the race. All right. And we are connecting here. All right. And we are joining right now. As we're about to set to go live to watch the second to last remaining race here going on the championship run here in the White Knuckle Racing League. Again, Tim Wells here, broadcasting live, and plays for the great James McCombs. I know we're all a little nervous, as a lot on the line. Some of the playoff drivers I'd mentioned. Whoever, obviously you want to win this race. The banking here is 18 to 20 degrees as it kind of gradually goes up as you drift up the racetrack. Straightaways and front stretch, 3 degrees. So waiting for drivers. Drivers, start your engines as we get underway here at the EcoBoost 200 here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. All right. Coming down the start-finish line. M10 Miller takes the pole as they head into turn number 1. So far, steady racing as we take the green flag. M10 Miller holds on to the lead coming out of turn number 2. Single file, 1 through 5. Little action going on there in the back of the race. They're in the back of the field as they head into turn number 3. 2 wide racing now. As Dale Miller tries to take the lead. Oh, the pole sitter gets into the wall. And a big pile up. Looks like we'll stay under green at the moment as we now have our new race leader. And that's the Here to God. And they're in the 42. Taking away P number 1. They head into turn number 1. And that really hurt our pole sitter. As we take a look, he's fallen all the way back to about the 9th position. Race up front, Here to God, up to position number 1. Followed by Dale Miller in the 8 car. 3rd place would be Miss Me. Has already made his way through the pack to be there in the top 4. As they head back in to turn number 1. Good racing so far. Coming out now of turn number 2. 24 passes underneath the 8, and then we got a battle going on for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th as the 42 car is trying to check out. The draft is also a pretty important aspect here at Homestead, but as tires wear, you'll be seeing it's harder and harder to maintain grip as they come out of those turns. A lot of action so far early on the stage number 1. 39 laps here at stage number 1. Take a look through the field. 42 so far, maintaining a steady race in stage number 1. And Jose Protege is trying to hold on to that 2nd spot over McLovin there in that 24, and that Exalta Chevrolet. So far, so good. A little slip up there at the early stages of the race, where we saw our pole sitter get into the wall after some hard racing on lap number 1. But things are starting to spread out here a little bit, single file racing. The nice thing about Homestead, you can run multiple lines. As each run goes along, you'll start seeing drivers utilize the high line to try to conserve tire wear. Coming into turn number 3 now. The Here to God still maintains position number 1. Followed by, in the 2nd position, Jose Protege in the 12. McLovin in that 3rd position. And so far, so good as we have some action there. And positions 4 through 7 going through the field. Jose Protege, as we right along with him. All steady through 1, 2, and 3. Go back a little farther back in the pack. Color 7. And position number 5. Trying to hold on to the top 5 spot. Stage points absolutely still matter if you're in contention for that championship. Graham Reaper in that number 3 car. And that AAA Chevrolet Camaro. As we're a little bit farther back in the pack. Another guy we haven't talked about quite yet is the Ridge Rat, who is still in championship contention. He would love a win, hasn't won a race all year, but he's been super consistent, able to maintain his status there as we get about a third of the way through stage number 1. Now Ridge Rat, of course, like I said, wants that victory to solidify his spot there in the championship round. But a solid finish could pay dividends as he tries to make it to the final round. Look back to our outside pole sitter, Dale Miller. Got some action going on near the front. 42 has company now as they come out of turn number 4. Dale Miller trying to go for that 4 spot. Trying to clear color 7. And maybe collect a couple more spots in the process. Good racing so far. Making a 3 wide now as they come out of the turn. Now down in the back stretch, 42 still leading. Followed by that number 24 machine there of McLovin. Dale Miller able to make his way back up to the 4th position after clearing the 12 of Jose Protege. The RCR car's got some speed. So they head in down to turn number 1. Good racing here in the early parts. And Coach Matt, a guy who had a strong finish last week in Atlanta, finishing 3rd. As they make their way down into turn 3. And turn 4, notice a lot of guys utilizing that low line so far. Your tire wear is going to be worn out more by utilizing that low line. So you might see here in the later stages guys utilizing other different lines throughout. After they make their first stops, I'm sure tire pressure adjustments, wedge adjustments will come into play as the 9 tries to sneak past the 21 car of Ridge Rat. Still battles going on up front, 1 through 4, all neck and neck. As we take a look at the Here to God coming out of turn number 4, he's got company. 24, McLovin. The 47 of Color. And the number 8, there of Dale Miller, 10. A little bump and grind there as they head into the turn. Dale Miller trying to get that position number 2. Stealing away from McLovin. McLovin's going to drop back to 4, losing 2 positions on 1 turn as they make contact. Going into turn number 3. Here to God, able to break away once again. Pit strategy may come into play. Here in the next few laps, they're currently on lap number 12 of 39 of this first stage. 1 through 4 all separated about less than a second. But the 42 keeping his nose clean. He's got that clean air to utilize and not having to deal with any traffic in front of him is helping him build a little bit of lead here over that 47 car of Color. Back down the inside, there goes Dale Miller. He's going to actually go ahead and make the first pit stops of the evening. Get the 8 car going to pit road. That's McLovin will take position number 3, and the 42 will remain out front, as well the 47 and the 2. More cars come to pit road, or pole sitter comes to pit road. Coach Matt comes to pit road. 21 actually passing Coach Matt. Coach Matt's still on the racetrack. The 21 and 9 battle out coming out turn number 2. Who's going to pit here? 39 laps. You can make it on either 2 stops or 3, depending on when you pit and how you utilize those tires. As more cars come to the pit, the pits and our leader actually has entered the pit stop. Here you got the 42. Oh, trouble for the 12 car. Jose Protege had trouble getting onto the entry road as he struggles to make his way down pit lane. Battle up front still, 47 and the 24 as they both will make their pits here on lap 15. 47 coming in, 24 coming in. Followed by the rest of the field. 8, 21, 9, all coming into pit to get those fresh Goodyears. Grim Reaper. And, playoff contender Ridge Rat struggling to get on pit road. Collides with that ever solid orange cone. As he comes in, collects some damage on the way. That's going to hurt him on the length of his pit stop as well. So, huge collapse there on pit entry. We'll see if he'll be able to rebound. Fortunately, there will be a yellow flag after stage number 1. We'll get the field set. So a lot of action going on there on pit road. Pole sitter back on the track. He's got some ground to make up as the rest of the field comes out of turn number 4. Let's see if he had a strategy call. Might have gone with 2 tires in order to make up some ground and track position as we go into stage number 2. Still plenty of laps left here in stage number 1. We take a look at Dale Miller now coming out of turn number 4 as he has reclaimed the lead for the moment over the Herdia God, who's down about a second. Now, both of these contenders are both still running for the championship. 4 guys will leave here in contention for that championship as Dale Miller heads into turn number 3. So we take you through the field right now. The Here to You God has led the early stages of stage number 1. We've seen some speed out of that Chevy Camaro from the Credit One bank. There in the number 42 car. As 42 is trying to reel back in old Dale Miller. Guy we haven't really talked about is Timmy Racer. Not sure if he's in the pits or if he has retired early. Not in contention for the championship. So we had some more action going on throughout the field as we have spread out. So we said spread out the pack. Fire Slayer, another driver trying to at least get a good finish for a chance to be in that top 4 as we head to Las Vegas next week. He's got some company though, trying to hold on to position from that number 3. And that number 3 of Grim Reaper driving for RCR as he's trying to make that pass around Fire Slayer. Can he clear him? Side by side going down the backstretch heading to turn number 3. He's going to try his luck here. Do the old slide job, and it looks like he's going to be able to make the pass. Coming on to the front stretch here. And he's able to complete the pass there on Fire Slayer. Take a look at Jose Protege, who had some issues. Had a lot of issues getting onto the pit road. He's lost a few spots in the process. One of our contenders as well. Trying to advance to the final stage of championship round. Moving back up to the field, McLovin has some company from the 31 car. And McLovin trying to hold off. They're the 31 of M10 Miller, who was sitting on the pole there at the start of the race. These 2 guys coming down there on the front stretch, heading into turn number 3. And a challenge for the lead. The Here to You God trying to regain position number 1 as they go into turn number 1 there with Dale Miller. Both these guys fighting for an opportunity to make it to the next round. A win clinches it. But stage points matter absolutely as we're a little over halfway through stage number 1. Still, the 8 car of Dale Miller is still trying to get back up there. Trying to retake the lead. He's going to challenge him right here, coming down on the front stretch. Side by side. Can he get there? He has his nose there on the rear bumper heading into turn number 1. Slides up the track, trying to make the 42 use some of his tires and make the clear. But that 42 is strong. He's going to have the run coming on the outside. Can't do it yet. 8 car, will he dive it in? Try to slide. And he's going to fall back in line. Unable to retake the lead. Still not giving up. This race for the lead is really starting to heat up. 42 entering turn number 1. Dale Miller trying to close it back in. After 42, they're separated about 0.8 seconds, about 0.8 of a second away there as they got back off pit road. But here comes the 8 car trying to fight for a position, take away position number 1, and he does. Dale Miller saying, why not? But the old crossover moves, come back down low, 42 car. Here to You God trying to make his way here and earn those stage points. This is as good as it gets from our drivers. 42 on the outside trying to find a different groove to find some grip as tires begin to wear. They're really driving the heck out of these machines right now. They're on the back stretch, heading back into turn number 3. 8 car is going to retain the lead as the 42 car is going to make a pit stop. As we got some trouble, the 11. Looks like that was the 11. Let's see what happened to him. Yeah, TCW had some issues getting on that pit entry. We talked about it. Wanted to avoid the black flags, but just getting on those access roads with worn tires, it's not as easy as it's made to be. Go back through the field now. Ridge Rat, who had some trouble on those access roads we were just speaking of, trying to gain some ground, some track position before the end of the stage. Grim Reaper, they're in the 3 car. With only 2 races left, I mean, a lot of these drivers will do anything for a win at this point. Color 7 had a strong car early on. He's currently in the 2nd position, followed by McLovin. And that 31 car there of M10 Miller, who struggled early on after sitting on the pole and getting to the wall there on turn number 1 of lap number 1. Positions 2, 3, and 4, separated by about 3 or 4 car lengths. And as you can see, color number 7 in the old 47, JTG Doherty Racing. Chevy Camaro making his way and about to take the lead as the 42 decides to take pit road. The 42 seemed to get in decently as we take a back look there at the 42. More pit road action. Fire Slayer now in, getting 4 fresh Goodyears. Jose Protege back on the track. Ridge Rat, this time around, seems to have gone on the access road a little bit better there for pit entry. And McLovin will take the lead as he passes the 47 car. McLovin, another one of those drivers hoping to clinch his spot into the championship round. We take a last week's result. Take a look at last week's results. Young boy Terrell finishing first, but obviously had that suspension due to breaking the rules of pit exit. McLovin finished 2nd. He's trying to improve on that number this week, trying to get that first spot and trying to get another win on the season in that 24 Exalta Chevy Camaro, as he too will make his stop, having a little trouble, but he's able to save it. Gets in the grass a little bit. Got to be careful. Tires are worn out. That's the last thing you want to do is spin out, especially when it comes to stage 3. So we'll see how these drivers react in the later stages. 24 takes its pit stop. Ridge Rat coming back onto the track. Another one of those drivers in contention for the championship. Getting on pit road is one thing. Getting off is another battle in itself. And he does it just beautifully. E-Bulldog making his way onto the pit road. And Coach Matt, we haven't seen a lot of him today. So far, stayed pretty consistent in the top 10, just so far unable to find his groove. As he was eliminated, he was the points leader going into the playoffs. Had a race where he finished just outside the round of 8 and was eliminated. So we see the Ridge Rat in position number 12. In position 12 of 14. Back to the front of the field as we have cycled back through pit stops. Color 7 in front of McLovin. Jose Protege running consistently there in the top 5. And there's our leader, 42, the Hirdia God. Trying to make his way. Actually, he was recently passed by the 31 of M10 Miller, a pole sitter back out in front. So able to rebound extremely solidly after having some issues there on that opening lap. 42 has been the most consistent throughout as he tries to go the low side, coming onto the front stretch. Going down in turn number 1, can he clear M10 Miller? Tries to slide up the racetrack, able to clear for the moment. 31's going to go back down low, trying to carry his momentum back to the outside. So the 11 car is off the pace. As we take a look at the 8 car, and the 8 car, Dale Miller, currently shows in position number 1, followed by the 42 of Hirdia God and the 31 car of M10 Miller. So Dale Miller 10, in position number 1, followed by Herdia God in position number 2, and Dale Miller 10 in position number 3 as they come into turn number 3. It'll be a close call, see whether these guys have to make a third pit stop or not. As of right now, we talked about that fuel window. About 13 to 15 laps for the early pitters. They might have to make a third stop. But this is mainly a 2 pit stop stage, so we'll see what the strategy plays out. As the 42 continues to hold on to that second spot. So take a look at the leader. There's a separation. About 2.5 seconds back. A-Car driving the wheels off that thing right now as he's coming up on playoff contender Ridge Rat in position number 12. If you can see in the back shot of the camera, A-Car, he's on his way. The 21 car of Ridge Rat has got to figure something out if he wants to have any chance of moving on to the championship round. Last thing you want to do is get become a lap down in the early stages, then you're battling back the rest of the way unless you do get that free pass. More action throughout the track. We mentioned the 11 car having some trouble, had to make an unscheduled stop as E-Bulldog is able to move around the 11 quite easily. And another look at Coach Matt as they head down turn number 1. Go through the field. Meets me, haven't heard a lot from him so far. Been able to stay in the top 10. As you can see, some damage early on from some contact there in the first few laps. The separation between P2 and P3 is starting to increase. That 42 car is strong, but not as strong as the number 8. Clean entry on both pit entry and pit exit. The 8 car has been able to maintain his lead after early a strong showing from the 42 in the first half of this stage, but right now it's the 8 car that has the lead as they come out of turn number 4. As we're winding down the stage with only about 5 or 6 laps left remaining here in stage number 1 of the Ford EcoBoost 200 here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. We can talk next week all you want, but you got to take things a day at a time, and that's what these guys are doing. The folks who are in contention, I'm not saying they're being conservative as we're seeing the 8 car dominate so far here in the latter stages as the 11 car again makes his way to pit road and will go another lap down. Positions 1, 2, and 3 coming down the line. And Dale Miller trying to get that extra bonus point. And as they cross the finish line, that will conclude stage number 1 as Dale Miller 10 will win stage number 1 and collect that bonus points. Heading into stage number 2, followed by Here to God in the 42. And the third place, the number 31 car of M10 Miller in that RCR machine. So as we saw early racing so far, the first 5 or 6 laps, heavily intensive 7-8 cars. But as you saw the tire wears, it was pretty clear what was going on and who had the strongest cars early on. Stayed pretty consistent throughout as we take a look at the results of that first stage. Top 5 for stage number 1. The number 8 car, Dale Miller 10. Second position, the number 42 of the Herdia God, 31. And that third position of M10 Miller. Fourth spot goes to McLovin Racing. And that 24, and rounding out the top 5 is the 47 of Color 7. Getting those extra bonus points. And 4 of the 5 all in contention to going into the championship round. We saw Ridge Rat struggle there in stage number 1. As we get set for stage number 2, stage number 2 will be 40 laps. So stretching that fuel mileage again will become crucial as we get down the latter parts of stage number 2. Going down turn number 1. 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 they go. Dale Miller trying to maintain position number 1. M10 Miller got some contact. 42 is on the wall. 42. The Herdia got into the wall. He's going to drop back from third. Now in sixth, seventh. As he falls back, as contact was made between him and, I believe, the one car. As you get down to the later stages of the season, guys are going to try some moves they maybe wouldn't have thought about earlier in the year, such as Daytona or Phoenix, Chicagoland. Now everything is on the line. Fire Slayer, another driver who's in the top 6, trying to make it to that top 4 going into next week of Las Vegas. McLovin Racing trying to find his way into position number 2 as he runs Coach Matt up the racetrack. Trying to take 2 positions away at once, but unable to clear. We have a lot of contact there on the front stretch. 42 once again. 42 ends up spinning. As we take a look now, there he is from first to last, just like that. It can happen in the snap of a finger. As we move back to the front, so the 42 will have some work to do to move his way back up. If he can stay on the lead lap, I still like his chances of finishing in the top 5. McLovin Racing now in position number 3, as we now have a battle for the lead. The Miller brothers running 1-2 in the RCR machines of 8 and 31, both in contention. More contact coming out there on the backstretch. So we head into turn number 3 now. McLovin Racing trying to make his way up in position number 2, but it's cut off by the 31. More action coming to the line. As Dale Miller, he is flexing that Chevy Camaro coming into turn number 1. Able to separate from him and M. Miller 10 for positions 1 and 2. Again, the driver still in contention is Dale Miller 10, who is leading the race at the moment, followed by Fire Slayer, McLovin Racing, Jose Protege, the Ridge Rat, and the Herdia God. So the 31 is actually not in contention, but obviously is trying to find his way into victory lane this afternoon. As the 8 car trying to pull away as the field starts to separate itself out. Dale Miller in first, by M. Miller 10 in second, followed by McLovin in third. Fire Slayer, who got to a slow start early in the race, finds himself there in position number 4. Just look at the second group of cars. They're in position number 5. We have Grim Reaper trying to claim victory here today as well. Trying to hold off the 62 of Me and the Ridge Rat. Looks like he was able to gain a lap back off that last at the end of the stage. Behind him is Jose Protege. And Jose Protege, another driver, trying to race his way into the championship round. Viva Las Vegas. Racing's all about gambling, and will the odds be ever in your favor as we conclude the race? Going into turn number 1, coming off turn number 2. Go back up to the front of the field, where Dale Miller still continues to flex his dominance as they head into turn number 3. The 8 car, Dale Miller, the 31, the 24, the 1, Fire Slayer, looking to gain some positions as the 31 slips up into the wall, and McLovin will capitalize, but can he clear him? Catching someone is one thing, passing him is the other. 1, 2, 3, and 4 they go. Coming off turn number 4. The first 5 all separated by less than a second, as the Ridge Rat able to make his way up into the top 6. We go back to the back of the field. Grim Reaper in position number 5, coming out back onto the front stretch. Contact made between Ridge Rat and Jose Protege. That Penske Alliance does not matter as much here as the end of the season is trying to conclude. TCW still struggling in this race. Finds himself way back in the pack. And Empton Miller, after getting up to the wall and almost getting passed by the 24, is able to gain some ground back on number 8. We'll see if he'll be able to make the pass. The Miller brothers going to turn number 1. 8 holding strong as he guides that 8 machine up the track, but 31's trying to gain some momentum here. Not utilizing the draft. He's going to take it deep into turn number 3, and it looks like our leaders will be heading to pit road earlier as the 24 resumes the lead for position number 1. They'll be joined by a few others making their way to pit road. Didn't see any issues as the 8 and 31 enter pit road. 62 of Misme and the number 9 of Coach Matt as well entering pit road. Herdia got into some trouble there in the early stages of stage number 2. Fire Slayer as well will head down pit road. Back to the lead. 24 car elects to stay out a couple extra laps than our leader. We'll see if that pays off as stage 2 finishes up. McLovin Racing finishing second last week in Atlanta, trying to score a win today and clinch a spot into the championship round. A lot on the line tonight. See the 24, he's going to stay out another lap. So bold strategy by the 24. Let's hope he has enough left in the tank to make it around one more lap. Jose Protege follows suit, elects to stay out another lap. And you'll see guys short pit here in stage number 2. Take a look at the Ridge Rat, currently in position number 3, closing in on the second position there of Jose Protege. Both drivers, top 3 currently in contention for those final 4 spots. '24 again will stay out. 12 and 21 will do the same. As E-Bulldog makes his way out of pit road. And the 11 car has been struggling all night long. Again, can't figure out this track. And we'll take a little trip down the pit lane by way of the grass. And the 8 and 31, they went in together, they came out together. Lined up, will most likely regain positions 1 and 2 as we cycle through pit stops. This will be stop number 1 of the stage. 42 car trying to find his pace. Empton Miller is trying to stay patient. You don't want to use up all your tires. Trying to make these passes could end up costing you later down the road. Another driver in contention, the number 1 car, Chip Ganassi Global Poker Machine. Not too far back from our eventual leaders of the 8 and 31. Trying to stay within striking distance. And it looks like our group has decided to hit pit road, and they're all coming back. Lined up next to each other, the 24 McLovin, the 12 of Jose Protege, and the 21 of the Ridge Rat. As we cycle back through, looks like the 8 and 31 will remain out in front. So there's our current battle for the number 1 position. Still just working together. It looks like pulling away from the field. The RCR teammates. You could see some strategy. Perhaps the 31's trying to help out his teammate who is still in contention, as Empton Miller is not currently in the top 6. Heading down into turn number 3 now. A lot of action so far here in the Ford EcoBoost 200 here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. 31 staying patient, taking his time, not really trying to pass. He's had plenty of runs and opportunities as he checks up for his teammate, pushing him down going to turn number 1. As things start to cycle out, let's take a ride along with the number 8 car. As you can see, Dale Miller 10 really lets the car roll into the turn and not getting back on the gas until about halfway through. Utilizes the wall as he again makes his way down into turn number 1. Nice and steady. This car handling extremely well at the moment. Dropping your tire pressure, depending on how you start the race. All these drivers run on stock setups, and you can position it to where it's super tight or super loose on the start of the race. For a track like this, honestly, tight is better. The tighter the better here, and you adjust throughout to adjust your handling, your wedge adjustments, and your tire pressure. Eight and 31, still working together, pulling away from the rest of the field. 42 just trying to hang on to that lead lap. As Fire Slayer in position number 3, trying to close in on our leaders. Take a look at Jose Protege in that second group. Battle for the 4th position now as Color 7 tries to make his way underneath the 3 of Grim Reaper. Going down the backstretch into turn number 3, able to clear him. Will he be able to hold him off? And McLovin is loving this. If you're behind 2 guys racing real hard, that's exactly what you want to see. Trying to close into positions 4 and 5. 3 cars slips up, coming off the turn. And that's another issue with these race cars coming down off the turns. Sometimes they often will snap loose on you, and you can lose vital ground on your competitors. 47 still pulling away from the 3. But as the 3 is trying to make a run now, going into turn number 3. 24 of McLovin closing in. And this is a battle for the 4th position. And if you're Fire Slayer sitting there in the 3rd spot, this is exactly what you want to see. In your rear view, 2-3 guys duking it out. As you continue just to run your race, try to work yourself, focus on yourself and run down those RCR cars in positions 1 and number 2. Jose Protege looking on in position number 7, followed by Ridge Rat in position number 8. Dale Miller 10 continues to lead with help of his teammate in the 2nd spot. Still 1, maybe 2 pit stops left in this stage. We should be seeing guys make their way down pit road here in the next couple laps. As the 8 and 31 continue to work together in hopes to clinch a spot in that championship round heading to Las Vegas. At least that's the hope for the number 8 car, as he's run a near perfect race so far. If you want to talk about the technical side, tire wear obviously crucial down the stretch. You don't want to wear them out. The 31 might be able to side here on the high line, but he's going to lose some momentum coming off of turn number 2. Tire wear, fuel conservation, and we'll start seeing more on that in the 3rd stage. And as we have already seen trouble on pit entry utilizing those access roads, a new rule implemented this week. Homestead has them. You might as well use them. As the 31 tries to make a charge there for position number 1. But the 8 stays strong. Heading off turn number 2 now. The 31 trying to figure something out. Can't get around his teammate. And it looks like the 31 will hit pit road, as will the 8. And the 8 coming in late. But the 31 has trouble getting onto the access roads. He's going to lose a couple seconds there. It might not be a huge gap, but after pit stops, you'll see how costly of a mistake that is. And it looks like Grim Reaper also just running right through the grass, having trouble getting on pit road as Ridge Rat makes his way across the line for our 2nd round of pit stops in stage number 2. 42 car in the Credit 1 banking, making his way on the pit road. Had trouble early in the stage. A contender led most of the laps there in stage number 1. Has struggled in this stage. But there's 3 stages, and of course we know the old saying, it isn't over until it's over. A few other cars make their way down the pit road. Here comes group number 2 of Fire Slayer and Color. They're in the 47 car. Jose Protege, I believe, has now taken the lead. Was in position 7, electing to stay out. We'll take a look at McLovin. Looks like McLovin has actually retaken the lead at position number 1. We saw this early in the stage, electing to stay out later than everybody else. So we have McLovin still on the racetrack. Ridge Rat also has not elected to pit yet. And we'll see how the strategy comes into play here in the latter stages of stage number 2. .47 car, and the 147 beats the 1 off pit road, and he'll gain a spot. We don't know if that's pit strategy or if there was trouble on pit road for the 1 car. Our leader still on the track, and still elects not to pit this time by. So we look back, the 3, the 1, the 12 of Jose Protege all lining back up as pit stops cycle out. 42 back on the track. Our leader from earlier, Dale Miller 10, back on the track. And there is his teammate, the 31 of Impton Miller, who had some trouble, as you can see, about a second behind. Seems he didn't have much issue getting back off the pit road. Ridge Rat getting back onto pit road. You got to make a hard break as soon as you get back onto the apex, coming down pit road. So we cycle through our drivers, 11 car back into the pit stall. 31 and the Tame the Beast 31 Chevrolet Camaro trying to reel in its teammate. They were 1-2 most of this run so far, but a mistake getting into the access road has cost him big, potentially a stage win. As we take a look back at the leader as we cycle back through pit stops. Depending on when you pit, you might be able to make it on fuel from here on out. But if you're the 8 and 31 and you came in slightly early, about 2 or 3 laps before the 24 of McLovin, you might want to start slowing down and conserving some fuel. But you know what? I'm not in that cockpit, so I'm sure they know what they're doing at this stage of stage number 2. And the 42 car now out front, in front of the 1, as we have gotten back racing. And Color 7, who was originally in front of the 1 coming out of the pits, has now fallen back. I wonder if he took 2 tires, and he's now paying for it as far as grip's concerned. Ridge Rat trying to hold on to that position as Fire Slayer onto the outside and pit turn number 3, utilizing that middle line, trying to gain some momentum. He's going to cut down low, and he'll have an inside advantage heading down the front stretch into turn number 1. Again, this is an important battle. Stage points. Stage points are on the line, and these are both in contention still. Some of our top 6 racers trying to get to that championship round. The 1 and 21 in a crucial battle for position. People might think it might not matter because there's still plenty of racing left, but track position will be everything heading into stage number 3, and they make their stage 2 pit stops. One starting to pull away a little bit there from Ridge Rat, followed by Grim Reaper, Color, and Jose Protege, and Coach Matt coming on the screen there at the end. Back to the 24 car. 24 is just racing his race. He's not forcing the issue there in position number 3. Pitted 3 laps later than the 8 and 31. We'll have fresher tires later down in the stage, but will be enough to claim a stage win. That 31 car seems to be reeling in the 8. The leader, little by little, as we get to the last laps of stage number 3, or stage number 2. Coming up on lap traffic now. Yeah, and that's the 42 of the Herdia guy, trying to stay on the lead lap, which will be absolutely crucial heading into stage number 3. You don't want to be a lap down when there's no other stages to save you and try to get your lap back. So if the 42 can stay on the lead lap, I like his chances of getting back through the field. Does he have a strong enough car to get back to the front? We shall see, but as of right now, the 8 car reeling him in little by little. So the 42 heads down at turn number 1. Take a look back at our leader. Has a comfortable lead still over the 31. About the same space of when they came out of pit road. Of course, the 31, they came in together, but the 31 had a little issue getting onto that access road to make his pit stop, getting in the grass and losing about a second. They're on the leader of Dale Miller 10, who is still, as I mentioned, is one of the drivers trying to race his way into the championship round and bring home a championship in Season 1 of the White Knuckle Racing League here on the PlayStation 4. And that concludes stage number 2, as Dale Miller 10 will get his second stage win of the day, followed by his teammate in the 31 of M10 Miller. And it looks like McLovin finishes out in position number 3 as I wait for the official results. All right, our stage 2 live results. Dale Miller 10 wins stage number 2. Second spot goes to the 31 of M10 Miller, followed by the 24 of McLovin Racing. Then in the 4th position, Fire Slayer. And in the 5th, rounds at the top 5, is the Ridge Rat. And 4 of these 5 are still in contention, so it's going to come down to, these could be the 4 guys we see end up making it to Las Vegas. I'm excited for stage number 3. A lot of action left. And as far as stage number 3, it'll be about 55 laps. So a longer stage, you're going to have to make at least 3 pit stops, maybe 4, depending on when you pit. And here we go for stage number 3. Look at our leaders. Looks like a position swapped a little bit there when they pitted during that stage. McLovin now in second as they head into turn number 1. Dale Miller still with the lead. Got some single file racing early on in this stage number 3 as Jose Protege gets loose off the corner. And he's going to lose a couple positions in the process. McLovin racing. He's going to be aggressive going down the inside. Can he slide up? He drove it down real hard there in turn number 3. He's going to slide, but will he have enough? Can he make it stick? Here comes the 31 and the 8 coming back down below the 24. Dale Miller's not going to let that one slide. They're racing not just for a win, but a chance at the championship. As now 3 wide racing. 24 gets slid up the racetrack. 31 takes advantage, and here comes Ridge Rat down below on turn number 2. Side by side, 3 wide. They're on the backstretch going into turn number 3. Dale Miller 10 in the second spot. M10 Miller now reclaims the lead. First spot is 31. McLovin fights his way back to the second spot after getting shoved at the racetrack that last lap. And the Ridge Rat trying to take position number 3 away from Dale Miller. Dale Miller really struggling there on the outside line. Not his lane of choice. And he makes contact with the 3 car, his teammate. Up into the wall. He's going to lose crucial positions. Can he fight his way back up? A lot of action early on as we look at the leaders now. 31 in first, followed by McLovin in the second spot. Ridge Rat in 3. Color fighting for position number 4 there with the Grim Reaper. Grim Reaper tries to make his way on the outside like the great Marshall Mathers once said, around the outside, round the outside. Battle for position and the lead. The 31 and the 24. Going into turn number 3 now. Can McLovin make a move? He's been playing pretty conservatively and conserving fuel and tires in these stages, but right now he is racing as hard as we've seen him all evening long as the 24 looks to the inside to take position number 1. Can he make it stick? 31 holds his ground there on the outside. trying to use that momentum. Coming off of turn number 2, they're going to come together side by side. But no, the 24 is able to clear him. But here comes the 31. He's not going to let that one go. Both elect to take the high line here as they slide back down turn number 3 and into turn number 4. Racing here is picking up dramatically as we look at the leaders. 1 and 2 are right there. And that second group, a tough battle, 4-car battle for position number 3. And McLovin drove it a little in too hard. The 31's going to have a huge run coming off this turn. We'll be able to utilize that. 31 to the inside. No, back underneath the 24. And he's going to stay behind him. He's going to give him a little shove right here. Trying to get the 24 to drive it up the track. 24 able to make it stick for the time being. McLovin trying to race his way into the championship. 31 not racing for contention, but nonetheless wants that win. And also, some of these guys are racing for rides in season number 2 that will take place here in August after the launch of NASCAR Heat 5. The lead is really starting to shake up here. 24 just slightly over the 31 there of M10 Miller. As these two battle, we have positions 3 and 4. That's 47, color 7. And out of nowhere, 42, the Herdia God, who had some issues early on, he's finding his way back up through the field. The 42 car, out of nowhere, trying to have some fun and get his nose into some of this business. 24, 31, 47, 42, all battling for position as they head on the backstretch, heading into turn number 1, but it's going to be McLovin still so far leading this race here in stage number 3. But here comes Color. He's going to make a 3 wide. 3 different lanes. Can they all make it stick? They do. 47, does he have enough? Oh, and 31 gets loose, makes contact with the 47. Coming down, crossing the line into turn number 1. 47, Color number 7. They're trying to take away position number 1 from the 24, McLovin. Does he have enough tire? Did he? Let's see. He's going to make a little contact with the 24, try to use some side draft. 24 is still able to hold. That car is strong right now, able to hold off. But how long can he hold them off for? 42 now. The Herdia guy looking for position number 3, trying to take it away from M10 Miller. And Dale Miller had some early struggles there, trying to make his way back up through the field. Herdia God now still working on position number 3. The 31 holding strong there on the outside, but he's able to clear him now. They'll fall back in line. 1, 2, 3, and 4 all lined up. They're in a 180-degree angle. 47 now trying to make his official pass for the lead. They make contact again. 24 is not going to let them have it easy. Can 42 capitalize as they come onto the front stretch? 42 now trying to take away position number 2 as 47 takes the lead. Swapping position seems like every lap. Could these 4 be our final 4? As 47 slides at the racetrack. 42 ducks down low, trying to take away that lead, but utilizing the draft at 24 now, trying to make his way as we see some cars utilize the access roads. The 3 comes in. 31 comes in. The 31 likes the early strategy of pitting early. 8, all RCR will come into pit. We take a look back at our battle for the lead. The 47, the 24, the 42. Herdia God struggled in stage number 2, able to battle his way back up, trying to retake the lead. Now down in turn number 3, 24 on the outside, trying to make it stick, get some momentum, and utilize that draft, trying to steal another position. The 42 gets loose coming off the corner, and 24 making it 3 wide, trying to go for the lead. Now, McLovin racing back to position number 1, trying to slide up in front of the 47. He can't. Here comes 47 on the outside. Side by side they go. Unbelievable racing and skill. I mean, it's just one slip up away from being a massive wreck as we take a look at the second battle there, the Ridge Rat, and it looks like Coach Matt. 24 making it 3 wide on that last lap, able to retake the lead after leading the early parts of stage number 3. And Fire Slayer joins in on the fun. Again, these guys are taking up a lot of time racing each other, you got to think the guys who pitted early with the fresher tires, when they come back out, will they retake the lead, such as the 31 car and the 8 car, as McLovin Racing decides to come in. He had enough racing with those guys. Color 7 retakes the lead, followed by Fire Slayer, who has been consistently in the top 5 or 6, but we haven't really seen him make a run for the lead until now. The 1 car, all over the 47. 42 falling back a little bit. Did the 1 car conserve his tires a little bit more than these guys? It looks that way. His car seems to be handling a lot better than the 47, but can he make the pass? He's going to elect to pit instead, as is the 47 and the 42. The 42 able to gain position. As our leaders coming down pit road. And here are some of the guys that pitted earlier. The 31, the 8, and the 3 all RCR. Will those fresh tires a little earlier in the run help them retake control of this race? As now our leaders still working their way down pit road. It's a long pit road. And it looks like some contact there in the back. 24 slides up back in front of the 3. He lost a lot of time. And he's way back behind the 31 car. As pit stops cycle back through, let's take a lap around with the 31 car. Could be the presumed leader as we cycle back through. Pitting a little bit early. I mean, those 2 or 3 laps difference of fresh tires makes a huge difference. The lap fall-off can range anywhere from 1 to 3 seconds, depending on how worn your tires are and how late you are in that run. M10 Miller trying to get a win late in the year. Not eligible for the championship round, but still looking for a win nonetheless. As he's looking to reel in Coach Matt. Utilizing it. He rolls it in. Lets off the gas pretty early. Sees those orange cones. Lets it roll. About halfway through, picks back up the gas, slides up, and tries to get that momentum off the high line. Dale Miller, who won stages 1 and 2, had some issues early in the stage 3, similar to what we saw from the 42 in stage number 2. Early contact, got shuffled back. Will he have enough to get back to the front? Here's the 42 car. See where things cycle back out. And there's Fire Slayer. Still in front of the 3 car. It looks like he lost some ground on the 47 and the 24. And it looks like M10 Miller has recycled the lead. And there's Coach Matt running behind the 31. 31 able to get around the 9 with ease. Now, did the 9 take 2 tires to get some track position, or is he a lap down? The 31 car, as of right now, has retained the lead, and a big one, in fact. So, and you see the 24 as well. The guys who pitted earlier, as the other drivers were racing, lost a lot of ground on these guys. Now, if the 31 and the 24 can conserve those tires, they can make it last another lap or 2. So we'll see how things shake out. As we're getting about a third of the way through stage number 3, and we'll find out exactly, who will get into the top 4 and advance to the championship round here in Las Vegas. Cycle through, see if we have any battles for position. Looks like the 24, 47, and 1 car. Looking for position number 2. as they head into turn number 1. We saw this battle for the lead earlier, but as I mentioned, pit strategy. If you're going to keep racing for position, you're going to lose a lot of time. The longer you stay out, the more ground you're going to lose on the guys who pitted a little earlier, as we have seen with the 31 car. Color now takes the position away from the 24 of McLovin. Color, McLovin, Fireslayer. And these are crucial positions. The 1 and 24 are fighting for spots into that championship round. A win will clinch it, but as of right now, the 31, who is not eligible for the championship, is currently leading the race. Fireslayer looking to get around the 24 now, as they head into turn number 3 off the backstretch. McLovin looks like he's losing ground here as the race unfolds. With that one car, there are Fireslayer is getting stronger and stronger, hung around the back for most of the first couple stages, staying out of trouble, staying consistent, 6 to 8 position, and now we're starting to really see him come along here in the latter stages. 24 trying to gain some momentum as we see Color get real loose coming off the turn. Like I said, that's going to happen from time to time. The looser your race car is, the tougher it is to maintain and stick coming out of those turns. And Color 7 trying to hold on position over the number 1 and 24 of Fireslayer and McLovin, respectively. A little further back in the field, we have Grim Reaper, Ridge Rat. And again, Ridge Rat trying to stay within the realm of possibility of making it to the championship round. Hasn't won a race yet this year, but consistency has been key. And that is why he still has a great opportunity to race his way into the championship round. As we see Coach Matt take an early pit stop now. Possibly some more strategy from the 9. As we've seen from the 9 all year, he's very strategy driven. He might know something we don't. Always doing math in his head. We go through the field. 31 back on pit road. Doesn't seem to have any trouble with the access roads. He had trouble in stage 2, but so far so good here in stage number 3. Staying mistake-free is going to win this race. And Dale Miller, early struggles here in stage number 3. But as of right now, ahead of that second group of Fireslayer, we finally got around the 47 of Color, and they touch, make contact. 47 gets loose coming out as the 8 car now goes into pit. This is where we'll start seeing drivers start to strategize for the conclusion of this race. No one can make it on 2 pit stops. There will be at least a third, maybe on 4th, on how you drive your car. Take a look back at the 42. And the 42 now will come on pit road. And the 42, I believe he had some trouble on that last pit stop, lost a lot of ground on the leaders. And here comes the battle between Fireslayer and Color. They've been duking out about the last 10 laps. And McLovin, he's fallen back a couple seconds now behind the 47 and the 1. And that 1 has been flexing his muscles, trying to make his way through the pack. 24's got to figure something out. Looks like he's going to make his second stop of the stage. See if he makes it through. So far, so good. Oh, he's going to get in the grass. Overdrives it. Oh, can he save it? The worn tires, it's very tough to gain entry here on these access roads. And that's why I show you that camera angle. It's not as easy as it looks, folks. So we'll see what the 24 shovels back out. He's going to lose a couple seconds off that. The Grim Reaper comes back, and the 42 as well, back onto the track. And the 21, he's going to make his stop. So he overdrives it. So it's going to be tough. Oh, and 21 loses it. That's going to cost him big in a championship run. He's got to get going. 21, the Ridge Rat, in contention for the championship, makes a vital error on pit stop number 2 of stage number 3. That is going to hurt. 24 and 37 now back onto the track. 31 and the 9. So we cycle back through pit stops. Looks like Homestead-Miami. You know, he sat on the pole, qualified in the first position, but really didn't show like he was going to be the car to beat in the early stages. Had some trouble on lap number 1, made contact, fell all the way back to the pack. Was able to stay in the lead lap, fight his way back up through stage number 2, had the issue on the access road. But since then, since stage number 3, he has been dominating. So we'll see how this race concludes, but there's still another pit stop to be made, maybe 2. You can see the 31, loving those fresh 4 good years. So we go back through the field, 21 back onto the track, lost a lot of time as Dale Miller 10 now passes the 21 car, the Ridge Rat. Again, battling for position to make it to the championship round. Again, those drivers are Dale Miller 10 in the 8 car, the 1 of Fire Slayer, the 24 of McLovin, the 12 of Jose Protege, who has not done particularly too well throughout the race, but there's still a lot of race. A caution could throw a lot of things off here, so let's not count that out. And the 21 of the Ridge Rat, and the 42 of the Herdia God, who's had an up and down race thus far, as well as the 21 is really looking to put pressure on the 8. And the 8 gets loose off the corner. The 21 goes around the outside. Battle for important position and standings. 21 looks to clear the 8 car. 8 car looking to have some trouble. I don't know if he wore his tires out a little too early on the second run. Or on this third run, I should say. But the 21 car cleared right past him on the outside. The 42 car. The Herdia got another driver in contention for the championship, as is the 1 of Fire Slayer. Fire Slayer looks to build himself about a second lead over the 47 of Color, as they look to close in on Coach Matt and our leader there in the 31 car of Homestead-Miami. Jose Protege in the 12. Talked about a little bit earlier, he's going to make another pit. Oh, no, maybe he is, maybe he's not. It looks like he just had some trouble there coming out of turn number 4. Back to another position, a battle for position, McLovin and E-Bulldog. E-Bulldog not in contention. He was eliminated early in the playoffs. But the 24 is still eligible. He's got a lot of ground to make up if he wants a chance to make it into the next round. So take a look at the 24 going past the line, crossing his way, trying to get past the 37 here and advance his way up to try to contend with the 1 car. We'll see how things shake out. I won't get the results of who is eliminated and who advances until after the race. But until then, I mean, these guys know everything. They gotta drive as hard as they can if they want to advance to the championship round and have a chance to go gambling. They're in Las Vegas next week. It looks like 47 gets really loose coming off the turn, and he's going to lose a lot of ground there on the 1 car of Fire Slayer. 47 having issues. That's the 24, and now only a couple seconds back, but still 2 cars separate the 47 and the 24. Back through the field, Grim Reaper driving a nice, slow, consistent race, steadily in the top 10. And it looks like Dale Miller has made his way back up to Ridge Rat. Lost some ground after the 21 made a pass earlier. 21 trying to hold on as they come out of turn number 4. Dale Miller's got the inside line. Can he make it stick coming down the front stretch? The 8 car's going to dive it down low. The 8, the 21, battling for position. 21 trying to get that run off the outside. If he can make it stick, he's got a chance to retake this lead over the 8. Playoff battles continue. here at the Ford Eagle Boost 200 here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Ridge Rat trying to make it work, but the 8 car might be one more turn. He might clear him. He's going to push him the wall a little bit. Like I said, lots on the line. These guys are going to start to get a little more aggressive as the laps continue to wind down. Coach Matt makes his way on the pit road. Haven't heard a lot from 62. Just driving his race. And here's our leader, 31 of M10 Miller. He's ran a near perfect stage, but a lot can change. Whenever he makes his third pit stop, that pit entry will be absolutely vital. As we see Jose Protege in picture. The 31 has a rather large lead over the 1 of Fire Slayer and the 47 of Color 7. And again, this battle continues between the 8 and the 21. This has been one of the more fun battles here of this third run in stage number 3. Battling for position, battling for a chance to advance to the next round. They know what's on the line, and they're going to drive like it. We're not even in Vegas, but the gambling has already begun as Coach Matt is able to make it back on the pit road. Looks like the 3 and the 42 elect to pit. Potentially their last stop of the evening. We're about 40 laps through here in stage number 3. Cycle back through. McLovin Racing has struggled on this run a little bit. About a straightaway now had separated from him in the 1 car. And the 1 car in position 2. The 1, 2, and 3 all down pit road as 42 and the 3 exit pit road. We'll see how these cars fare. We'll go ahead and take a look. See if the 31 car can keep it clean coming back onto the track. Well, so far so good. And the Ridge Rat taking a look at his live cam. Only a couple laps remaining in the fuel window. Strategy's going to really come to play now. So 1 car's back on the track. See about 4 or 5 seconds behind the leader of M10 Miller. M10 Miller really starting to dominate this race. He's led all of stage number 3 for the most part. There was a lot of battling going early on. He elected to pit a little earlier in that first run as we saw battles between the 1, the 42, the 47, the 24. They really worn out their tires and continued to battle after the 31 pit. Having those fresh tires as those guys battling really lost some time. And that's where you see strategy really play a factor as the 31 goes into turn number 1 and Fire Slayer here in position number 2. And the Ridge Rat, as we see things start to cycle back out, looks like he made up a lot of ground on the leaders. M10 Miller in position number 1. Going down to turn number 1, he has run an extremely clean race thus far here in the third stage. Talked about a little bit earlier, early struggles, lap number 1 on the pull, gets into the wall, gets shuffled back, and unable to make his way through the field in the stage number 1. Then then he was in second place right behind his teammate of Dale Miller. Had issues getting onto the access road to make his pit stop, and he lost a lot of ground, finishing second in stage number 2. And after gaining the lead after the first cycle of pit stops in stage number 3, we have seen M10 Miller absolutely dominate this race. Look back at his teammate who looks like he had the car to beat early on, winning stages 1 and 2. But after a couple mishaps, made some contact, and early on in stage number 3 has been unable to find his way back up to the field. Herdia God, they're out in front of the Grim Reaper, battle for position. As of right now, 42 car looks to be in a good position to advance. Still a lot of race left. Position number 2, Fire Slayer, 3371. For a guy who's been really strong, we really haven't followed him along too much this race. Let's take a lap with him. Easy does it coming out of turn 3 and 4 for Fire Slayer. A lot of these guys are running the same line. I was really expecting guys to conserve their tires and run the high line, but I mean, it looks like if you ease up there on the throttle, you're conserving more tires than you think you are just by running the low line. So easing their way, just letting it roll, not getting into the accelerated too early has been paying dividends, and that's why you're seeing the separation between guys like Fire Slayer and the 31 of M10 Miller. You see McLovin Racing, who was in contention. He was leading early on in this stage, and after that first round of stops cycled out, he's finding himself quite a ways back from the leaders. And the Color now, who also had some opportunities in that Kroger machine and that Chevrolet Camaro, had some issues getting onto pit road. And potential battle might be coming up here between the 3 and the 42 and the 37 of E-Bulldog. 37 blocks the 3 as they head into turn number 3 now. 42, 37, 3 all battling for position as they come off turn number 4. 37 gets loose. 3's trying to capitalize there on the outside. Will he be able to make his car stick? Heading into turn number 1. Lets it roll a little high into the corners. Going to get back on the accelerator. Back into the gas coming off of turn number 2. 37 again gets loose. And as you can see, cost him a position as the 42 and the 3 might be able to duke it out here in the next lap or two. Ridge Rat. We saw that he struggled getting on the pit road on his last pit stop, trying to get around of the 8 car. Once again, another battle. These guys, they just can't seem to lose each other. Back and forth once again. Here, as the laps start to really wind down, here in the Ford EcoBoost 200 for the White Knuckle Racing League here on the PlayStation 4. 21 on the high line the last few laps. It doesn't really help you through the corners, but coming off the corners where you see your momentum, and as you can see, the 21 car able to finally clear the 8 again as they come down to turn number 3. Battle for position, battle for the opportunity to move on to the last stage of the season. That is the Championship 4. That will be raced next week, Thursday, 9 p.m. at Las Vegas. 21 gets real loose, might make contact with the 8. Had a lot of issues on that front stretch, and he loses position as they battled it out for the end of the race. And just like that, your race winner, M10 Miller, dominated the entire race. We'll see where things shake out. We saw the battle for position between the 21, the Ridge Rat, and the 8 car. But by golly, the way that things potentially have shaken out between that last lap, between the 21 and the 8 car, we shall see. So we'll get the official results here in a second, but as right now, M10 Miller is your race winner as the race concludes here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. An unbelievable finish of position as we take a look now. And it looks like we'll get the official results. All right. And it looks like based off strategy, we actually potentially missed that, but based off strategy, things have really shaken up here. Jose Protege able to come away with the victory at Homestead-Miami. M10 Miller finishes position number 2, followed by Fireslayer in 3rd. McLovin in the 24. Coach Matt finishes 5th. And in the 6th position goes to Color 7 and the 47. The Ridge Rat finishes 7th. Grim Reaper 8th. The Herdia God in 9th. And E Bulldog 48 rounds out the top 10. So unbelievable finish. As we'll try to get Jose Protege in for a post-race interview. But my goodness. Looked like M10 Miller just had it based on how he was running, but a little strategy play by Jose Protege, able to make his car last and claim victory. And Dale Miller had a strong showing, but ended up finishing 11th, followed by Me, TCW, and then Timmy Racer in the 14th position. So things to look out for. Dale Miller finishing last of the guys eligible to race their way in. So the 8 car finishing 11th. That could possibly hurt him to go advance to the championship round there next week in Las Vegas. So he finished 11th. The 42 finished 9th. The Ridge Rat in 7th. And Jose Protege getting that win will advance him into next week's race. And Fireslayer and McLovin finishing 3rd and 4th. We're going to try to get Jose Protege in for a post-race interview. So bear with me as we get him into an exciting end as we concluded the second to last race of the season. But my goodness, guys, I'm very curious how the 12 pulled that off. We saw the 31. Looked like he had the victory. As we welcome in the 12 car of Jose Protege. Jose Protege, to be honest, it looks like the 31 car was going to dominate that race. How did strategy play in as we welcome you into the broadcast, but to get that victory? Absolutely. I mean, was this an improvised move, or was this something you kind of played out throughout the week? That's kind of how you envisioned this race going. Right. Yeah. And you know, it's right. And you know, obviously it's the end of the season, the last race before the championship round. You went ahead and clinched your position. Like, how do you feel going into Las Vegas next week? Right. All right. Well, Jose, congrats on the win. Best of luck to you next week, and we'll see you next week in Las Vegas. All right. I appreciate it. All right. That's Jose Protege. We're going to look to get M10 Miller in, finishing second today's race. After we just talked with Jose Protege, a guy I think a lot of us had counted out. We weren't sure where the strategy was going to play out. As he mentioned in the interview, hung out back, but was able to obviously gain enough positions, save enough fuel, and get that win there late in the race. See if we get M10 Miller in. All right. M10 Miller not responding at the moment. So we'll look for position number 3, another driver trying to fight his way into the championship round. But But again, your top 5, Jose Protege finishing first, M10 Miller in second. The number 1 of Fire Slayer, 3371 in the third position. McLovin Racing finishing fourth, and Coach Matt, another guy who really utilized pit strategy there at the end, able to round out the top 5. All right. All right, so looks like these guys are too busy celebrating their opportunity to get into next week's race. So we'll conclude the broadcast. Be sure to check us out next week at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Right here, broadcasting. Me or James McCombs will be broadcasting once again. So make sure you tune in. Again, awesome race by all our drivers racing their way. And we'll get the final standings posted on the website, whiteknuckleracing.com. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at White Knuckle Racing. That's RCN Racing on Twitter and Instagram. And we'll post those results later in the week. So thanks for watching. And that concludes this broadcast. We'll see you next week. Yeah, man, we just concluded.